Captain on the bridge.
Alright, Captains, we are back on the bridge, and today, what I wanted to go over was, well, Captains, you already saw on the thumbnail, was Star Trek Resurgence. Yes, finally, now, on screen. Now, the last video that we did on Star Trek Resurgence was 2 months ago, and this was from the Summer Game Fest tweet that they put on their page here, on their official Star Trek Resurgence Twitter feed. Now, from then, I was sort of waiting on maybe a little bit more gameplay footage or something, more development, but all we got after that was just a weird tweet here saying Star Trek Resurgence is definitely a game you should check out. Again, was waiting. Got this here on July 21st. There will be Star Trek Resurgence panel at Comic-Con. And really didn't get much. And of course, here was the panel, but I didn't really get much more information than that. Then the last tweet there from the Comic-Con July 22nd. Had an amazing time at Star Trek Resurgence panel CDCC. The exclusive play along we did in audience was Out for Blood. Haha, can't wait to play full experience. From Dramatic Labs later this year. That was July 22nd. Of course, now there was this that was retweeted by Star Trek Resurgence, an interview with the game developers here, which is an interview. Now, Captains, I will link their Twitter feed here in the description below, so feel free to look at that. Now, I have been looking on the Star Trek Resurgence here sort of Twitter feed for any news, and I thought I had checked stuff, but then this popped up. Now, this was retweeted by Star Trek Resurgence on August 17th. So it looks like I missed this. So there's going to be a tie-in. The new 5-issue Star Trek comic book prequel to the upcoming Star Trek Resurgence will explore the tumultuous mission of the USS Resolute in recovering Dr. Leah Brahms from the Talarian Republic. Talarian. Sure, that's how you say it. Now, we saw this, we're like, what? How did I miss this? Obviously, I wasn't checking enough, but I thought I was. Now, doing a little digging, of course, on the internet, so we found this link here. So what we're gonna do is go over this, drop the ECs where we need to, and then give our conclusions. Because, Captains, you know this is a game that I've been looking forward to, but it's kind of, I'll say it, this kind of thought that was running through my mind is there's not enough hype being built up for it. And, you know, this title says Star Trek Resurgence comic adds depth and scope to highly anticipated upcoming video game. Now, it is highly anticipated, but I just feel like there's no hype. So we thought we would go over this because, yeah, we're still excited for this, definitely. I just feel like we need some more. Even though this is more, this is just a comic that leads up to the game. So we're not sure if we'll cover it. We'll see if we can get a copy of it and then go over it. So here we go. We're going to just go over this. The tie-in comic miniseries details the catastrophe which befalls the crew of the USS Resolute prior to the events of the game. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do remember an accident that they were talking about in one of the trailers, I believe. So this may be it. So, building upon the wave of excitement for Dramatic Lab's upcoming interactive video game, IDW is thrilled to announce the 5-issue comic book prequel of the same name, Star Trek Resurgence, exploring the tumultuous events of the USS Resolute preceding the game's main storyline. The miniseries will be written by Andrew Grant and Dan Martin, with art by Josh Hood, Avatar: The Next Shadow, You Can Never Go Home, and will debut in November. Now, this is a prequel to Resurgence, and this is going to come out in November, so does that mean Resurgence is going to actually come out shortly after? So December? November, December? This was supposed to come out, I thought, in fall, or even earlier, but this is where we're at, and this is something that at least we're getting here, and I don't mind that. So here's the cover here, Captains. So Star Trek Resurgence there, and we get a picture of this here that we see here. Now you see an alien there, it looks like. Of course, you see the Resolute. I believe that's Dr. Leah Brahms. That's Captain Solano there, and then 2 crew members there. And that might be the 2 crew members that are talked about that accident. So again, that was covered, I believe, in one of the videos that we did about the incident. So I guess they're going to cover it in these comics. It would have been nice if they would just covered it in the actual sort of game itself, but I mean, it's just content, more content to put into the game. And there's another shot. Again, the shot of the Resolute there is pretty cool. Again, it was a Centaur that they put a deflector on it. So again, captains, here on the bridge here, we do cover mostly stuff on Star Trek Online. It would be nice to see this in-game just because. For more Star Trek feels. Now, so here we go. On a wind-swept planet bordering the notoriously hostile Talarian Republic, a scientist of the cusp of developing technology that will revolutionize warp goes missing. The crew of the USS Resolute is tasked with an urgent stealth mission to recover Dr. Leah Brahms and keep her research out of enemy hands. I can't wait for fans to have a truly immersive game experience on the bridge of the USS Resolute and discover the formative events that indelibly shape the ship and crew via the comic books, says Grant. I'm grateful to have worked on a franchise that is genuinely hopeful about the future, that takes into consideration the needs of the many, and views diversity as a singular source of strength. Now, reading this, I think the video that we covered there was Captain Solano himself talking about the accident that had happened. So I think that's what it's going to cover. So here's another shot here of Dr. Leah. I'm not gonna lie, captains, I will share with you that when we saw the episode of Leah Brahms there with Geordi, I had a little bit of a crush on her, not gonna lie. And then they kind of threw that off to the side when they actually showed us the real Dr. Leah, which threw me off a little bit because the hologram or the simulation, when they made her, kind of made her to be like super nice, but then when she actually came face to face with Geordi, she was kind of a little snotty. Just saying. So maybe it's gonna be kind of cool, like the nostalgia nugget. You know, captains that have been here on the bridge with us for a while, you know I like the nostalgia nuggets, so sure, we're there for it. So those ships look familiar. Can't quite put my thing on that, but maybe we've seen them before, and maybe they are the Talarians. Again, kind of a cool shot there. So again, Star Trek Resurgence #1 cover by Dramatic Labs. I really wanted to spend more time with the crew of the USS Resolute. Then why didn't we do it in game? I would have rather had this just put in the game to show us what did happen, that accident that Captain Solano was talking about. So I'm thrilled to take fans on another adventure in this prequel comic, says Martin. There are some familiar faces along for the ride, and as long as Star Trek fan myself, it's sometimes hard to believe that I actually get to bring life to characters which I first met on TV decades ago. Drawing Star Trek is a bit of a double-edged sword. The iconography is burned into the minds of so many fans that when you get something wrong, phasers, the bridge of a starship, the comms badges, it's instantly recognizable as being wrong. But when you get it right, the entire experience of being in the 24th century seems to slide right into place, says Hood. Now, that is, I would have to agree with this statement here, because when we just recently covered this Strange New Worlds, the phasers on the ship were red. Now, on the Enterprise, the last episode where it was showed fighting with the Discovery, or in the episode I should say, it was shooting blue phasers. And then in Strange New Worlds, it was back to the orange. So someone had mentioned to me there when I had made that comment that originally they were red. So, but again, it goes to what Hood was saying here, that it's instantly recognized, scrutinized, criticized when they get it wrong. So when we were going over the video for Star Trek Resurgence, yeah, we got the feels because they were getting things right, left, right, and center, and I'm here for it. So again, excited. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long, but it seems like it might be the end of the year, maybe even possibly pushing to next year. So there you go, another cover there, and that's the emblem that we're used to seeing there for Star Trek Resurgence. Some more things here. Number one, Return Center variant by Malachi Ward. The universe is vast in the 24th century, and any opportunity we have to explore the stories of characters that don't always make it to the big screen gives us freedom to do things in the comics we don't always get to do, says editor Heather Antos. Combined with Dan and Andrew's experience working on the game itself, alongside Josh's clear love of Trek, Star Trek Resurgence is blasting off into brand new corners of the Star Trek comics universe. Star Trek Resurgence number 1 will be available in November with 3 variant covers. There you go. For fans and retailers to enjoy, including cover A by series illustrator Hood, cover B by Germanic Labs, and a retailer incentive variant by Malachi Ward. So there you go. So captains, we thought we would drop our 2 ECs here because, again, like I mentioned, we have been sort of looking forward to this. Any news for Star Trek Resurgence, because we wanted to cover it because we think that this is going to be a fun experience just based on what we've seen. And we want to further, of course, just immerse ourselves in the Star Trek universe. And I think Resurgence is going to do a job of that. Now, what I do hope is, one, that this Resurgence has replayability so that we can sort of, you know, keep ourselves in there. But again, like I mentioned before in the videos, like how many times could you really make a decision and ultimately in the end, does it really change the ending? I've played games like that where, yeah, you've chosen different sort of answers or paths and it kind of still leads you to the same ending. So, and or a different ending, but just very, very different, you know, deviation from the main sort of plot there, but still kind of getting to the same point in the story. So again, we're still super excited about this. When I saw this today, I knew I had to just drop the ECs there. That's my first time reading that. And that's kind of how we do it here on the bridge. When there's just news, we just kind of go over it as we record the video here for the YouTube bridge so that we can give our true and honest sort of thoughts / ECs. When I say ECs, captains, energy credits, because like I said, again, usually here on the bridge, we cover Star Trek Online content, but this game is one of the things that we're looking forward to, and hopefully we can play and share our experience with you, captains, here on the YouTube bridge, as also the Twitch bridge as well. So captains, there's the video. Thought we dropped that again. So do us a favor, like the video, comment below, tell us your thoughts. What do you think of this? Do you think they should have just put this in the game, or are you excited that they did sort of more via comic wise? Personally, I wish they would have just put it in the game. And also subscribe to the YouTube bridge here. Like I mentioned before, we do cover Star Trek Online content, but also we are going to cover the Star Trek Resurgence game when we get our hands on it, but also anything that comes up beforehand. And of course, doing our review once we finish the game. So captains, we're going to leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.